You have probably heard, if you're in the Houston area, that we have run afoul of Governor Abbott. And this, of course, follows a good 2-ish years of Houston managing to be pretty well left alone by the state. And here's why. Mayor Whitmire, for the most part, understands that his job is not to be political, which might shock you at first because he's the mayor. That's an elected position. It is. But if you actually pay close attention, you'll realize that the mayor and city council, those are all technically nonpartisan seats. Now, we all know who the Democrats and the Republicans are. Let's not make any mistake about that. But technically, at least on paper, the duty of the city council and the mayor is not to be political, but simply to manage the day-to-day affairs of the city. Is the trash getting picked up? Is the law being enforced? They're not really, legislators in the sense that, the folks up in Austin are. They're not making political policy. They're just making sure trains run on time, trash trucks run on time, police are where they need to be when they need to be there. John Whitmire understands that. He does. And I'll give him full credit and marks for that. Many of the folks on city council, both to the left of me and to the right, understand that, and I'll give them full marks for that as well. However, there is a growing contingent of folks in both national politics and in Houston politics that really only see any given political position as a pathway to platform whatever their particular ideas are. And that shouldn't be the role of any political office, especially not a local municipal one. And so those folks, Abby Kamen, Alejandro Salinas, Ed Pollard leading the charge here. Those are the 3 wokest members of our city council, in my opinion. They set out to politicize. And so they wanted to go and do this big resisting immigration ordinance that would, force HPD to limit their cooperation and what have you and la-di-da-di-da. It never should have happened. And Abbott saw this, and that put us on his radar, which we had stayed off of for a long time. I think that's a good thing. We had a good working relationship with Abbott. And so, to make a very long story short, if you've somehow missed it, that has started a kind of statewide discussion about, what are our various cities across Texas doing when it comes to immigration? Now, the issue should be fairly simple. If you run someone's ID and you see amongst their warrants that, they have an ICE warrant, you call ICE and say, hey, I've got one of your guys that you're looking for right here. Come get him. And that's it. And I think that would be perfect. And you just sit there and you wait, and then the ICE agent comes, and then you call it a day because you've done your job. Now, Houston Police has very limited resources, limited personnel. We're building back up the department, so I understand that we can't really go and do all the immigration enforcement that I would love to see HPD do. And so I'm willing to compromise on that because at the end of the day, this is a municipal issue. We have a limited number of police officers. What is the biggest priorities? What can they do to be the most effective? And that's where their priorities should be. Now, while this entire debate was going on about whether or not HPD should just sit on their hands when they find an illegal alien, ICE Houston was, thank God, actually still going out and doing their jobs. From the Texas scorecard, ICE Houston arrests 277 criminal aliens in 2 weeks, including murderers and child predators. Now, I'll remind you, the going opinion, so far as I've heard from everyone on the left, is those 277 people should have been allowed to just live here. They're just as American as you or I because they're on stolen land or what have you. Among those arrested were 17 convicted child sex offenders, 6 murderers, and a Salvadorian MS-13 member sentenced to 228 years in her home country before the Biden administration released her to the United States in 2024. Why was she in our country? known gang member sentenced to 222 years in prison in her home country, but she's living free on Houston streets. And members of the Houston City Council have no problem with that whatsoever. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Field Office announced Wednesday the arrest of 277 criminal illegal aliens over a 2-week period. That's just in 2 weeks. Wow. Between April 6th and April 17th, with those individuals carrying a combined 751 criminal convictions and 654 documented illegal entries into the United States. Now, the line we always hear is, oh, these are just dreamers. They're just coming here for a better life. They just want to they just want to build something for themselves and make a name for themselves or what have you. Enjoy the American opportunities. Just like, the Irish people that immigrated here in the 1840s through basically the 1920s, just like the Italians or what have you. That is so obviously not the case, it hurts. The people that are coming are, for the most part, the worst of the worst. And if not for the most part, a big enough contingent of the people coming are the worst of the worst to make it not worth it to let any of them in. If the same percentage of Irish immigrants in the 1840s through the 1890s were violent, murderous criminals that were sentenced to literally hundreds of years in prison in Ireland and were coming into the United States, they would not have been allowed in. Except maybe in the 1860s because the Union needed them for the army. But this idea that this is just like the immigration that we've seen in the past in the United States is flat out wrong. The people that are coming in are criminals. They are contributing to our crime problem. And again, we have a big crime problem. This is the easiest solution with the greatest effect to the crime problem. Like, it's not going to make crime go away. It's not going to disappear. But if you want to solve a whole lot of the crime problem really quickly, stop letting these people in. Which, thankfully, we have done. Praise God. But now we've got to get the ones that are already in out. And I'm sure the left is going to be pissed off about it. I'm sure the soccer moms that believe the lie that these people are all just here to build a better life are going to be super upset about this. At some point, we're going to have to just tune those people out. The Councilwoman Abby Kamens of the world, the Councilwoman Alejandra Salinas of the world, we're just going to have to say, no, you're wrong. I don't care what you have to say about it. We're deporting these people. They shouldn't be here. They're a threat. Because that's obviously true.